Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to bring you my conversation with Alex. He went from being very, very healthy to being completely incapacitated, not being able to get off the floor at his mother's house, his mother taking care of him, bless her heart. He had not one, but three debilitating conditions at the same time. And he crossed not only physical, but also some spiritual borders in order to have a complete recovery. Complete recovery. I've never had an opportunity to know someone that had an actual miracle experience in their life. And this is one. So I hope that you get as much out of it as I did. Enjoy. Alex,
Hi,
thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I wanted to have you on because I heard about your story, and it really just resonates with this notion that we do not have to be bound. Our choices don't have to be limited really by anything when we are talking about reclaiming our wellness, healing from chronic or extremely acute illnesses, and you did that in spades. And so I was really anxious to, well, I should say eager to share, have you share your story, and hope that it inspires my audience to really think outside the box and to know that absolutely anything is possible. So, to get us
Mhm.
started, tell me about life before illness.
Good question. Well, it's interesting because I actually grew up on an organic farm.
Mm.
So I was raised with very natural approach to living. My parents are very into the natural approach. I had an extremely healthy life. I was very healthy, vibrant, active, successful in the sense of my career at the time. So life before was traveling, working out a lot. I was very active. I had a very social, a big social life. Like, it was everything that I think the average 30-year-old or in my 20s and 30s would want. Had a good career. I was working in corporate finance. Although not my wasn't my passion, but I was enjoying it and doing well. So I then left the corporate world, and I decided to pursue more of my background, which is health and wellness. And I started to work for like a supplement company. I was a sales rep on the road, and that's where I got diagnosed with my illness. So 32 years old, it changed everything in my life in an instant.
At that point, well, first of all, I want to just let everybody know that so you're from Ontario, right? So you're in Canada. Okay. And so tell me about, was it like an instant thing, an injury, or like you just woke up one day? Tell me about that point in your life.
These are good questions. So it started off with back pain. So it was a sore back. Sciatica. Sciatica was the big disability for me. Sore back, lower back, digestive upset. I was on a holiday and I started having like bleeding.
Mm.
So I was like, I thought I swallowed glass because I was out the night before with my friends drinking, which I don't do anymore,
As
but
one does, yeah,
yeah.
at that
So
age.
I thought, when they like the bartenders like put the glass into the ice, I thought, oh, maybe there was a little shard of glass in that ice
Oh.
That's what I was like, why am I bleeding? What just happened here? So that's when things started, but it was a sore back, and sciatica was the chronic illness that I was originally trying to figure out. Um, but all of it was inflammation. Really, it was systemic inflammation that was really just the start of the ulcerative colitis and Crohn. So that was my diagnosis. Originally, it was like you have herniated discs, L4, L5, S1, sciatica, and then it was like the digestion went, and then it was you have ulcerative colitis, basically potentially Crohn's. They were crisscrossing that. So Crohn's colitis is very interchangeable. And then both of those, they just took over my whole life.
Yeah. So tell me about how that evolved. So you woke up, one day and like everything had gone to shit. And
Yeah.
so you are like, okay, well, it was just a rough weekend. I'll get over this.
I was just surprised because I was in Florida actually with my friends on I think it was March break or something like that. And yeah, I just this was strange, and my stomach was very sore and bloated, and it just things didn't feel right. So I went in to get a colonoscopy here back in Canada, and yeah, they said, you have ulcerative colitis and Crohn's kind of thing. So it started me off at first. I'd never even heard of this. I've never even heard of this illness. I had no idea what this was. I never had digestive issues. I was working for like a vegan protein company. Um, yeah, and then I started off down the healing journey, initially with some pills, because I was like, I have to go to work. I have to get rid of this. I had never had health issues before. So I was like, okay, well, what are the medications? And then that started the the unraveling of my awakening to the medical procedures and things that were available to me, that I refused the majority of it. And then the healing really took place. The first thing I went to was a psychotherapist. I was
Really?
like, yeah, the very first, I was like,
Like you
well, let
thought?
me just with like what's bothering me, because I knew about psychosomatic connections, spiritual, mental, emotional, and I was going through a lot at the time. There's a lot of stress. I was going through a breakup, and I wasn't really using my voice. I wasn't really using my voice a lot the way I should have. I was still a little bit, developing my confidence, maybe a little shy, um some insecurities, things like that. And then this I had one session with this amazing therapist, and she just that's all I needed. I just needed to know that, you need to speak your truth here, Alex. You need to, say what it is you need to say. Don't sugarcoat everyone's relationship and all of that. So that was the starting. I knew it was deep stress, just life, like working and running around and trying to succeed, but also it was catching up with me because I was ill and I was having all these digestive problems. So it was affecting my day-to-day life. And I was just trying to stay on top of that hamster wheel and
Yeah.
popping some meds in there, but that was not the solution.
So, I want to go back to the pills. So you said you started taking pills. Did you mean like prescription medication? So you went to a, a, a physician of some sort to say, I've got all of these symptoms. What can we do? And they prescribed pills and you took them. That was the
Yeah, they
first. Yeah.
yeah, they were anti-inflammatory prescriptions, basically. Nothing super major, but they actually exasperated the issue. They actually created massive flare-ups. They did the absolute opposite of taking away the inflammation, the bleeding. They actually just made it worse. I became allergic. I realized I was allergic to those medications because I would hemorrhage.
Yeah.
So I'm taking more and more, thinking like I got to get the hemorrhaging under control, not realizing these are actually causing a lot of my symptoms. And in that, I was, really jumping into my holistic. So I'm a holistic nutritionist is my background. I was in school at the time, like part-time getting that degree, and I was starting to incorporate natural anti-inflammatory supplements, health supplements, foods, juicing, this type of approach, because now I was like, it's time to put this into practice to see how it helps.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it sounds very similar to American conventional medical approach, where it really is addressing symptoms instead of really looking at what's causing the inflammation. And have you heard the saying that you can be standing on a tack and or standing on a nail, and doesn't matter how many Tylenol or whatever you take to get rid of the pain, as long as you're standing on a tack, it's still going to hurt.
Yeah,
And that's sort of what it sounds like that approach was for you, that they gave you pills to stop the inflammation, but what was causing it was still unknown. And
exactly. Yeah.
then at what point it sounds like you decided maybe it's all in my head, or how do I get my mind right about this? What was your thinking to get you to move into the psychotherapy?
I think it was just I had never been to a therapist. I was living a good life. I didn't ha- I never felt like I had,
Yeah.
you know, anxiety or stress. I think we all have a little bit of that naturally,
Yes.
living in the mind. But I just felt like, well, let me just go check out the emotional connection, because I do believe in that. I realize that if something's unwell in the body, there's an underlying emotional component. So that was just um part of it, but the illness in itself creates a lot of anxiety and stress and
Sure.
fear and worry, because you're slow rating your wellness is dropping off. My finances were starting to slip. I was missing work. So I'm trying to think that, and I remember a gentleman that I had spoke to, um who had said, it's your emotional well-being. And I was like, no, like I didn't want to accept that. I was denying that, you can't have, it's like I wasn't allowed to have angry moments. Like any kind of stress would spur on a flare up. So it was like this, it really trips your own mental well being, because you're like, I'm trying to stay calm and meditate, but I can't get upset at things or life or people. If I do, I'm going to pay the price. So it's it really took me to a place of surrender. I got to some pretty desperate moments where meditation and reading and surrendering was a big component to my healing. So
I love that. I listened to some of your other interviews, and the point of surrender, I would really want to explore um, a lot when we get there. But I want to continue on this path because at some point you took a page out of my medical tourism book and crossed the border to find a healing option in the U.S. Can you tell me about that?
yeah. So I was diagnosed in 2009. So just so that everyone
Yes,
has a bit of a time frame, because the overall healing, and anybody who, I just want to say this before we go into this whole rabbit
yes,
hole, because
yes, please.
rabbit there's many years of like, oh, I'm in remission, oh, I'm not, up and down, and like there's so many. This will probably be a very intensive explanation of things. So in 2017, actually, in 2009, I was diagnosed, and then um, I remember working in corporate finance and always wanting to go to Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida. It was just something that I wanted to experience, the wellness, the healing, the foundation of all the different modalities and technologies that they use. The idea that it's based on a live, raw, sprouted diet, and wheatgrass is like the foundational, like, healer, detoxifier. So I didn't go because of the price. It's not, it's quite an investment to go there, well worth it. But there is a thing called doctor days, and you can go as a practitioner, which I was, to learn their program, to get a little degree, if you will. It's a 4-day program. So you're immersed in the retreat center. You're learning. They do a lot of treatment for cancer. Which, side note, my mom had stage 4. We healed that up as well. No chemo, no radiation. That's another story though. Um, but I went to Hippocrates in 2017 to learn the protocol, to see what this could do for me. And it didn't get me into like remission, but it did provide a lot of healing and new information, new ideas. I started to learn about all the different technologies that people are not aware of, different, beds and sound frequencies and light frequencies, and like there's so many things that this institute shows you just to be healthier and enjoy your life regardless of what illness you do or don't have. You can be, I mean, people go there when they're fully healthy. It's to embrace the wellness. So I went there. I went to the States to do their program. Got a lot of wisdom and information out of them. A lot of healing took place, but it still wasn't my end all be all answer.
Mhm.
And for some people it is. I'm not saying it's the program. It's my spiritual, emotional, my path still needed. This all had to take place. This is part of the
Right.
deal. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't over yet, even
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. But
So
it was a necessary step.
100%. Very grateful for Hippocrates. Very much so.
So it was still a necessary sort of in retrospect, it was sort of a necessary step still on your journey. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still incorporate a lot of the healing modalities. Like I take wheatgrass. I started to grow it. I juice wheatgrass. Like I'm a very big believer of the sprouts and raw foods. And in again, all of these things apply in context to someone's healing journey. Like some of these things may not be good on a full flare up, but when you're in a healing, in more of a healed place, I do incorporate a lot of what they showed me, and what I've learned from Hippocrates,
Hmm.
especially for cancers. That was really helpful later in
Yeah.
life when my mom.
Yeah, so that is again what you learned there. You, as a practitioner, were able to help her in her remission. I love that story also. But for now, I want to now kind of return to your story, and I know that it doesn't. Again, it's not linear, so you may need to back up to more of your own healing process. And it sounds like, tell me if I recall this correctly, before you went to Hippocrates, there was other stuff in the works that contributed to your healing next steps after Hippocrates. Is that right?
Yeah, before and after, I incorporated traditional Chinese medicine, which is probably my personal core go-to medicine. Anything that I deal with, I do Chinese medicine. It's, they have 5,000 years of wisdom and healing
Yeah.
practice that does aid the body. It works with your natural rhythm. And so I've done a lot of, I'm a big believer of acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine. All of that was also like another leveling up in my healing, which I think Chinese medicine, to be honest, was probably the biggest contributor to my wellness in terms of the
Mm,
acupuncture and qigong and tai chi, and like just doing things that were in flow with your body's natural rhythms. And the medicine itself is very, for me, it was very, very effective and powerful.
yeah. Okay.
So something that was like my core baseline of daily healing.
So, um, I know that, and we were talking a little bit earlier, that your path of healing and your spiritual path can't really be separated. And I know that that was kind of a turning point for you in your healing. Can you talk about how those are woven together?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think I started my spiritual path when I was around 20. It was quite young, getting into spiritual books and reading, and I found Buddhism, I found Buddhist meditation. Um, and during my stays in hospitals, I did a lot of personal reflection through reading, through spiritual lessons, and learning about myself and learning about what the purpose of this is in my life. There's deeper meanings and reasons for illness. It's not just because you're supposed to be sick, it's because it's trying to show you where you need to grow, where you need to let go, where you need to heal. And these are all part of the spiritual journey, the path that um it's very interwoven. Because how can I explain that? It's a good question. When I had a full healing, so I had some divine interventions. Let's go into that topic because that's where the spiritual
Yeah,
happen.
I think
So
so.
it starts with belief, right? You have to have faith. You have to have a sense of a connection to your higher power. You have to believe that you are being, you know, overlooked or divinely connected to your source energy. To I was into archangels, like I'm into all of it. I look at everything. So in 2013, I was scheduled to do, which I was never going to do, but I had it lined up, back surgery. I was told that your back, your L4, L3, L4, L5, S1 was herniated, all this. I did everything. I did acupuncture. I was very fortunate to have an amazing chiropractor who used a lot of different lasers and different things. But I had Reiki treatment. So, um, my mom's friend, I was staying at my parents' place, living on the floor because I could not walk. I could not walk at all. I was like in major pain with the sciatica. Um, and my sister said to me, do you want to go? Well, first of all, the Reiki teacher, who's now a very good friend of mine, she came in to do a Reiki treatment. And to my point of surrender, the day before she came over, I was talking to my best friend at the time, and I was saying, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm on the floor. I haven't worked in 3 months. My body's falling apart. I'm riddled with Tylenol. And like, it was just mess. It was a mess. And he said, Alex, just pray to the archangels, ask for a divine healing, divine intervention. This is on a text. He had texted me this. And so the next day, Marguerite comes over, the Reiki master. She does some healing on me and she has a full on breakdown. She's like, I don't know if you believe me or you're anything I'm crazy, but the archangels are here with you, healing your body and the higher power. And like, it was there's a deeper conversation, but that's the gist of it. And I showed her my phone. I said, absolutely, I believe in this. Absolutely, I've been praying to them. I've been asking for healing. I've been asking for protection. In this same time frame, within days or a week or so, my sister was like, do you want to go to a healing room? And it was local to my parents' house. And so I said, yeah, for sure, let's go. I had 2 canes at the time. I was like crawling into the car in pain. And this healing room was a faith-based healing session where they surround you. There was 4 people. Was it three or 4 people? And they pray and they try to ask for divine healing. So I'm sitting on a kneeling on a chair. I couldn't stand up longer than a couple of minutes. So I was kneeling on a chair, and I had these people that were like praying and sort of asking my higher power to heal me, to give me relief. On the way home, I was in the car, and my whole body turned into like a sheet of ice, freezing, freezing cold. And I felt all of these cracks. It felt like if you see the visual of like a frozen lake or river that's just cracking. And I went home that night and was extremely tired. I remember it was 5:30 at night. Had a little bit to eat, and I went to bed and told my mom, like, don't wake me up. I'm really drained. I'm really exhausted. I slept until the next day, till like it was like 15 hours of sleeping, and I woke up and I walked. I was done. That's how fast that happened. I woke up and I walked upstairs, and in a couple of days I went back home, and that was like fully released. So that was a huge, in that time, staying in my parents' house, and that's where the surrendering took place. I was like, I'm just going to sit here until whatever it is, I'm surrendering. I can't change this, and I'm not willing to get a surgery. I'm not willing to cut out my spine or the herniations. And so I just surrendered. I was like, whatever this is meant for, I'm going to let it be. It's very courageous, but I was trying to have faith, and I was trying to trust and see what happens. And then these events take place.
And do you think that, well, first of all, have you had any like imaging or anything done since then where the doctors are like, I don't know how this happened. I have no reason to tell me about that.
Yeah, I had blood work done actually I want to say it was about a year ago, and it was the best blood work I've had in since having colitis. I had nothing was depleted, nothing was out of balance, everything was in check, like healthy. They still they don't comment too much. I've been in remission since I started doing tarot. So that was like a huge healing in my life because of the experience I had channeling a friend who passed away. And then another huge healing took place. And then it was like, we're done. We've moved on here. So
So
yeah.
did you have imaging done? Did you have like any like MRI or anything of your back showing that that is actually healed?
Yeah. So I had obviously the pre-imaging, which shows all the discs and bulging and all that. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any back pain. I don't have any herniated discs. I don't have any sciatica. I don't have any inflammation in my colon. Like, I don't have any of these symptoms or blood work or imagery. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
So, uh,
So I want to go back to the you just had kind of an offhanded comment about, you know, your friend that passed away, and because that is a really big I think it's also as significant to your story as all of these other things that kind of created a perfect storm of healing for you. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
yeah. So, um, this is where things kind of came to a complete spiritual awakening, closure, healing. This is where everything kind of finalized for me. Um, so a, f- a friend of mine that I grew up with, she passed away 25 years ago. It wasn't a good situation, unfortunately. It was a very traumatic passing. Um, and so she would come through my dreams. I didn't really know what to do with this information. Like, I was in my 20s, I didn't know what to do. It was just like, oh, that's, she's showing up in my dreams. And then 4 years ago, so 2021 is when I got into tarot. I was playing around with tarot, and she was coming in like every week with very strong messages to find the family, to tell the family that she's okay, to offer forgiveness to the situation and try to to tell me like over and over that she's okay. I held on to this information for a while, and I was going to tell them about 10 years ago, but I didn't because of fear and wondering what they might think of me. Or um so again, I had a conversation with my Reiki master. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm waking up very emotional myself. These messages are very intense. There's a lot of them. It's nightly. And as you know, I don't have any social media. I didn't know where the family was. I haven't seen them. The sisters are younger than I am. So I didn't really remember much of that. Like, I hadn't seen them. So I went on my friend's Facebook, and different name, different person. I'm like, I need your Facebook. I Googled them up or tried to find their last name on Facebook. I found a relative, and then we finally got connected. Okay. So
Yeah.
I send them a big long email because I was saying, listen, like, your sister's been coming through. I have a lot of things to tell you, I have a lot of things to share with you, and so on and so forth. And immediately they called me. The next day we spoke, or the day after, couple days after. I remember it was December 17th. Now, I'm going to share this detail, and I don't think I've ever shared this in public in my healing journeys, but I'm going to share this time because it might it might help people to really understand the power of faith and spiritual connection and all that. So, and I've never shared this very much because of just out of respect for the family, but my friend who passed away was murdered. And it was a very horrible situation. And it was her partner at the time. So he is in prison for life. December 17th, 20, I think it was 2021, was the day I called the family. They said, they were like, Alex, he just applied for parole 3 days ago. The timing of this, again, it's divine intervention. She wanted them to forgive, to let go. Don't worry about that situation anymore. Like, move on and live your lives. Don't worry about where that situation is going or holding on to grudges. And that's hard to tell a family when it's not an easy thing, but just the timing of all of that was so bizarre because I couldn't not tell them. It was pushing through me to call them. So December 17th, 2021, as I'm telling them on the phone, my mom, who's calling me multiple times, I kept hanging up so not to be interrupted. The family had a lot of healing in this connection. We're still very good friends today. Um, I've also had some channeling of one of their past nephew, or like a relative. I think it wasn't a, like a relative nephew. I've had channeling of that, but the same day that there as much healing as could take place, my mom, who had the stage 4 cancer, was in remission. It had only been 3 months, and my body was fully finished with colitis, because I always had these little colitis and autoimmune. People would know it. There's waves of you're good, but no, you're not. And it
Hmm.
was like done. And I had like a full blessing that day. Like, I even remember my house like lighting up with light. It was like a spark went off inside my house. I saw her spirit. I saw it like fly out. Like, I saw her energy there to like be gone and be done. And my body, it was done. It was like, we're done. I,
You.
I didn't have to take any more herbs. I didn't have to do any more acupuncture. I was done. And my mom, the same. No chemo, no radiation, stage 4 cancer, gone.
So, the power of this energy center, right? Speaking our truth is
Uh-huh.
so powerful. It's also what, we're so conditioned to hold it in. Um, and it sounds like that was also a big component that was like the trifecta, right? For you. and
Yeah.
speaking that to them despite your fears of what they might think, who is this crazy guy? Whatever that was kind of the icing on the cake.
Yeah. And that's what the psychotherapist, the very first appointment I had, she's like, by you not venting, by you being so polite and so nice to your ex and not, saying what you need to say, you're just burning holes. You're ulcerating yourself. You're holding on to that energy and you're getting ulcers from it. And so I think that I didn't realize, but a lot of people did say, "Oh, that's what you were hanging on to, Alex." There was a lot also from my friend coming through. No, there's not a blame or anything. It's just like I didn't realize how much information and sort of emotion from her murder that I knew about. Maybe I was unconsciously or subconsciously hanging on to that, because a lot of people said you were probably hanging on to a lot of that trauma, and then when you released it, it healed, and so did you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just
it's
love your story. I mean, I'm
very
sorry for all of your pain, but that you have been so resilient and so open to, like you say, you surrendered and you're just open to whatever path, however crazy, whatever it is, you're open to the miracle of it all.
100%. Yeah, I believe in that. I always, it's like I believed in these things, but I had never had the opportunity to suffer so much, because really it was an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I never had the opportunity to practice it. How would we practice surrender or faith if we're just living our life, running around doing our thing with nothing pushing us down or nothing stopping us?
Yeah.
And so I've learned that, I've realized that, I've taken, I quit everything, left the big city, spent a lot of money. I put a lot of investment in my health, and with all these different things, different modalities, Hippocrates and Chinese medicine, and I invested all of my money into my health. And although sometimes I say, "Oh, I lost it," I didn't, because I gained what I have now, which is like now I can tap into a lot of my own intuition, and I can like really enjoy helping other people
Mm.
and like embracing these things and like looking forward to miracles. Like I look forward to like these things now because I see them and I've witnessed them and I've experienced them. So with great illness and pain, I want to tell people that like there's a lot of healing and spiritual awakening waiting for you to open up to that, because you really feel yourself.
Yeah.
You really do kind of the cherry on top. It's kind of like you just need your facilitators, your modalities, sometimes medication. I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes I needed it in the
Absolutely.
beginning.
Yeah.
So, I needed blood transfusions. I had many, many of those, but they're not the end all to necessarily the healing. If you forget or ignore the spiritual or the emotional aspect, you'll just continue down that same, you know,
Yeah. And
like route.
it's and it sounds like there's no one thing, and everybody's journey is them collecting their particular things, their particular modalities, their particular mentors, their particular um, whatever their path is about, right? Whatever is on their journey, and just surrendering to even the idea that there is something bigger than them that might have an influence. Um,
Yes, surrender that
and
you can
yeah,
heal.
yes, surrendering to the notion that you can heal is huge, right? Because I think sometimes we get caught in the fact that this is just my lot, it's my genetics, it's my whatever, it's my insurance says I can't, or whatever limitations we put on ourselves. Um, and I love the idea that we don't have to know all the details. We don't have to know the how it's all going to work. We just have to open our mind to, you know, consider the possibility. What if?
Embrace it. Embrace, like, was it fun? No. Was it what I wanted? No. I would have done anything for the so-called cure. But now looking back, it's like I'm very grateful for all of this. I'm grateful that life put me through this experience, because people just want quick fixes, and it's really, you have to embrace your journey. And sometimes it's 1 year, 2 years, sometimes it's 10 years. Mine was close to 15 years. Like, it took time, but it was an up and down, you know, roller coaster. But man, the things I learned, the things I now I what I've learned about healing, what I've learned about all these different medicines and modalities, and like, it's amazing, because now I have my healers, I have a network.
Yes.
And should pop up in life, I now know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing. Like, being told that it's incurable, that you have to cut your colon out, that you have a high risk of cancer. It's interesting because the doctor used to try to remind me over and over, you're going to get colon cancer. You have a higher, and I told her, I said, that's the least of my worries.
Right at this point, yeah.
I would go to Hippocrates. I know where to heal that. So I'm not
Mhm.
worried about the cancer. Let's address the colitis. Let's take care of what we're dealing with now versus projecting a future illness that's not showing up for me right now. Let's deal with this, not you could have cancer.
Yeah. What about
I was,
today? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not my worry. I'm not afraid of that because I know how to address that.
Yeah. What about at what point did you um become interested in tarot?
So my whole life, I mean, uh, I've always like worked with the mind as a kid. Even I remember trying to waiting for my mom in the grocery. I'll never forget this. Waiting for my mom grocery shopping as a kid. I was like 5 or 6 or 7, whatever, and I would sit in the front entrance where all the gumball machines were, and I would to elevate to prevent the step to open the doors. You know, you walk on that black
Yeah.
pad, and
Yeah.
so I used to sit there and like try to lift myself off to be like I defy gravity. And I was always into my like intuition and things like that. So I had a tarot reader,
Mm.
who also unfortunately passed away. He was my favorite tarot reader, and he's come through and blessed my life in many ways. So 2021, 2020, like, was when I was playing with the tarot, but I've always had readers and psychics, and I'm into this stuff. And then I was during COVID, there was just more time, and I was watching a lot of readers. I didn't even know there were such a thing as YouTube readers. And I remember just saying, like, I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm gonna do one day. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do this. And so I was playing around, learning the tarot. And then I put an ad out on Kijiji. I don't know if you guys have that in the States, but it's basically an online auction, like an app to sell
Oh,
things. So I'm offering free tarot readings, and I was getting people from all over, random. I wanted strangers, and then I was
right.
getting repeats calling me back. And then I did a contest. So there's a tarot reader online, Tarot Time with Dana. She's really big, really good. She said contest. It's called Read the Reader. And I was at a friend's house that weekend. I'm like, oh, what have I got to lose? I'm going to do a reading on her and send it in. And I wasn't prepared, to be fully honest with you. I wasn't prepared at the time to go on to YouTube, but I won. I was one
Dang
of the
it.
top 3 winner contest. And so she was like, you better, what's your handle? What's your thing? I'm like, I got nothing. I don't, I said, and she threw me into YouTube. I had Blue Mountains Tarot. Uh, that's where I'm from, Blue Mountains in Canada, and Collingwood, the same town. And I just opened up my channel and she announced it and I started from there. I then went to a local spiritual store and I read the owner there, and that's where I really owe a lot of gratitude and gratefulness for that store, because it was my launch pad of like reading all kinds of people.
Yeah. And do you still practice or do you have clients that for your holistic nutrition?
Um, I'm kind of no, I would say short answer is no. I have a couple of clients, they're younger, that are dealing with Crohn's and colitis. So my heart goes out to anybody who has any illness, but especially Crohn's and colitis, especially if you're young. So there's a couple of clients that I still keep in touch with, and we just touch base. They're doing well, but yeah. So I offer it just within my own life, my own friends and family. I
Yeah.
live that life for the most part, and but I don't practice. I don't officially practice anymore.
Mhm, mhm.
So.
Um, and so are you like 100% tarot is your life and you're just yeah.
Yeah, and
And what a beautiful life it is, really. It sounds
yeah,
like you're just happy
it's
with
a
it and connecting and sharing and doing good in the world. I think ultimately that is what we're supposed to be doing, right? Is just using our own stories and our own gift, whatever that is, to just do good.
yeah, and it's another a moment of surrendering, because I was on like sick leave from my job. I was still working in sales for a health supplement company, and so I love the health industry, wellness, naturopath, all that stuff. But I at the time I had another moment of surrender, because I was like, I can't go work on the road with colitis. This is not possible. I don't know what I'm going to do. Working at a health food store is not going to pay the bills. So again, it was like, I surrender. I don't know what I'm going to do in my life, but something's going to have to replace my career, because I'm not going back to corporate. There's no way.
Yeah.
And I remember, yeah, it's whenever I told the family about my friend who passed away, that the tarot kicked in. And I remember my mom, this may sound crazy, but she's like, you're employed by God now. You just have an endless amount of people that you can help, and maybe you're healing or helping others through a personal tarot reading in their healing journey. So it's like, again, it's self-created abundance is one of my lines that I downloaded when I woke up one day. It was like, self-created inherent abundance. We're all You can create, and if you just step into the divine and step into your spiritual path, like it's people think it sounds crazy, like it will be provided for you, but it is.
I
I
mean,
didn't plan on.
honestly, it's just happened to too many people. You can either pay attention to it or not, whichever, but there's too many people whose bank account speaks for it for themselves. Um
Like,
and it really is just the point that you know, surrender to it.
yeah, I always say I didn't plan my illness, I didn't plan my healing, and I didn't plan my life.
No.
It's just showing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part of, like, I had to have all of that to heal the colitis patients that I was working with. How do I heal them if I experienced all this?
Right.
So it's part of it.
Phenomenal.
It's
It's it's beautiful crazy. It's crazy in
yeah,
the most spectacular kind of,
yeah,
way. I love this.
yeah.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to see if there's anything else that I haven't asked, that you think might be helpful for people on this journey to
Yeah,
know.
yeah, for sure. So the first thing is, speak your truth. Speak your voice. Say what you want to say. You're here to share. And I think I get a lot of comments on my channel about like, you just say it like it is, Alex, like you're no nonsense. And I have a soft side, and we all have different sides. Speak
Yeah.
your truth.
Yeah.
Be who you want to be and say what you need to say in this life. Practice surrender, practice letting go, practice releasing things that are beyond your control or power. Just let it be what it is for the time being, and follow your heart, like follow your path, follow your life, because I absolutely love what I'm doing. It's so much fun. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of energy, but I love it. And like, let life unfold, let it happen for you. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it is beautiful. All of it is a blessing. It's meant for your learning. It's meant to teach you. It's meant to awaken you. I wouldn't have woken up to the dark side of medicine hadn't I have been inside of hospitals and being told you can't be cured, you can't do this. And it's like, yes, you can. There's no rhyme or rhythm or rule to anything. So I think the biggest thing is live honestly, live in your truth. Always try to wish well for other people, bless them, forgive them. Just like my friend said, like, forgive, let this go. And it's a very strange thing, because hadn't that situation taken place,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the opportunity from this side of things to be blessed in a way that was an outcome in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
mean, you couldn't have
unfortunate, but it
created
all,
this. You couldn't have like you couldn't have
yeah,
just, put this out and said I need for these things to happen. It doesn't work like that.
healing takes place in from the other realms, from the angel realm, from the spiritual realm, from the divine. It comes in many different realities. So embrace it all. Like, and we're all psychic, we're all intuitive, it's just that some people witness it or harness it, or they believe. And that's something I know. If you're learning tarot, it's like I never trusted a lot. And sometimes I still like doubt things. Like I still catch myself in disbelief or questioning or doubting. But trust, it's when you have a good relationship with your higher power, and trusting like
Yeah.
this is what's you know taking place for you.
Yeah.
So
I
it
think
helps
even
to
if, something happens in my day, that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure, or I have a feeling, an intuition or whatever that is inconsistent or questionable or whatever. But instead of completely dismissing it, well, that's crazy, and writing it off, but to just hold it and say, that's really interesting. Maybe it'll make sense later. Or again, just hold it as truth, but I don't have to do anything with it now. But I often say just that I can't trust my own thoughts, and that's thoughts are more like the ego and that whole thing. And I get that, I I know that I can't trust my thoughts, but I can trust my heart, and I can trust that gut feeling that I think in Eastern practices and Eastern medicine, there's something they call the subtle body, right? And that the energy, that vibe that you get when you walk into a room and you're like, ooh, something is off here. You can trust it.
yeah,
You can
listen to your
trust that. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think those kinds of things we try to reconcile and either know what it's about right now and act on that, or dismiss it completely and act on that. And I think, like you say, we all have more of that available to us, and it's really all happening inside all the time anyway. But to just hold space for it and say, "Oh, that's interesting. We'll see."
Yeah, you'll know when something doesn't make you feel right. You'll know instantly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you feel right. And that's also what, if you're going through healing and you're dealing with ailments or illness, um, that's one thing that I'm so glad that I listened to my intuition the whole time through, because I was like, I know I'm not going to touch a certain level of medication. There's like, I am not doing those meds. There's no way I'm doing that high, strong biological drug. And I am not doing surgery, and I am not cutting out my colon or my back. I was like, it didn't feel right. I was like, I have to take the time to know that I can heal. So that's something I was like, I'm going to listen to my gut feeling. And if I ever write a book, I always say it's going to be called From Gut Feeling to Gut Healing.
Yes. Do it. Do it.
Uh,
Do it.
that's the title,
Yeah.
because that's how
Start
I
the
heal.
pre-sales now and I will buy it.
That's how I healed, was truly listening and then having courage to share what I
Yeah.
had to share.
Yes. And it is courage. And I just recently heard somebody saying that courage is different than bravery, or um, being fearless, in that courage means you feel the fear and you're doing it anyway.
Yeah,
And
and take space. Sometimes you gotta pick up and leave, or I had to leave the city. The city was making me unwell. It wasn't healthy for me. Big radical changes, and it's like, but I gotta get healthy. That's my number one.
yeah, yeah, it is. Because without that, as you know, we have nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So
Thank you again so much for sharing your story today. I think it's such a powerful one, and I am so grateful to be able to share it, to hear it firsthand from you, and to share it with my audience, all three of them. Hi, Mom. And and um, encourage people to just trust themselves, trust their own inner wisdom, do good in the world, love people, and heal.
and you don't know who you might heal. You don't know, sharing your story helps others. So
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
one thing to keep in mind too, just what you might have to share in the future once you overcome your healing.
Wasn't that incredible? I am just blown away that he was able to heal IBS, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, and sciatica. I mean, any one of those is enough for one person, but all three. And he did it his own way. He combined conventional practices with alternative practices. He didn't just follow what the doctors said, though. They wanted to do surgery, more than one. They wanted to do surgery on his back. They wanted to take a significant part of his colon. They wanted him to be on all kinds of pills. He did take some medications. There is a place for conventional wisdom, and there is also a place for alternative practices. There's also some emotional hurdles that he overcame. That was part of his journey as well. The power of forgiveness and speaking his truth, the courage it takes to rise to those, and surrender. So, all of that was what he called a perfect storm for his healing. So, I'm very curious, do you believe that divine intervention can help with healing? I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are on Alex's story. Please share your comments and let us know. Also, while you're down there in the notes, subscribe to the Wild Rebel Wellness podcast, and be sure to subscribe to Alex's YouTube channel as well. If you're considering bariatric surgery or are navigating life afterward and feel like you could use some support, I would love to help you. I had bariatric surgery over 7 years ago and am also a national board certified health and wellness coach. I've also got over 30 years of experience working in hospitals and medical clinics in the US, so I get it. If you'd like a discovery call with me, all you need to do is tell me a little bit more about yourself and your journey at the link in the podcast description below. And I've also got some other resources there for you, so be sure to check it out. Remember, being well in this era and in this culture, it's an act of rebellion. So go, be a rebel and be well. Until next time.